Greetings, humans. I am Lord Megatron, leader of the Decepticons, and I lost a very stupid bet. So now, as punishment for my stupid bet, I have to read to you this entire presentation. I don't want to do this either, but I have to. Starscream. So, what is a radian? A radian in a circle is the length of the perimeter equal to the radius of the circle. There are about pi radians in half a circle and 6.28 radians in an entire circle. While 360 degrees does equal to pi radians, degrees and radians are not interchangeable even though they serve a very similar purpose. Angles can be found by measuring the arc length, or distance on the circle, from the starting side of an angle to the terminal side, the ending side. Coterminal angle is an angle that ends on the terminal side of another angle. They usually have a very close relationship. While a clockwise angle is negative, a counterclockwise angle is positive, despite how weird that is. You can convert radians to degrees by dividing 180 by pi however many radians. You can also convert degrees to radians by dividing pi radians over 180. This allows you to convert the two and interchangeably. Primus, what is this thing? Oh, we're still recording. Okay. This is a unit circle. Unit circle is a tool used to memorize commonly used angles in degrees, radians, and graph points on the circle. Commonly, these are angles 180, 90, 60, 45, and 30 degrees. Circle is used to help students, or others, be able to find different forms of the same angle. As seen on the unit circle, we can see that there is points, radians, and degrees on the circle to help us figure out what is equal to each other. Here's where the fun stuff is. There are 6 trigonometry values on the unit circle total. There is sine, the y of the circle, cosine, the x of the circle, tan, which is y over x, cosecant, which is 1 over y, secant, which is 1 over x, and cotangent, which is the x over the y. Along with these, we have several of these identities, which mostly play into right triangles. Sine equals 1 divided by cosecant, cosine equals 1 divided by secant, tangent is sine divided by cosine, sine to the power 2 plus cosine to the power 2 equals 1, and then 1 plus tangent to the power 2 equals secant. Alright, now you're going to really have to listen for these ones. To find coterminal/angle coordinates, we subtract the amount of circle loops, or x times 360, or x times 2 pi, and then we use the sine or cosine of the equation on the remaining bit to figure out where the sine or the cosine of the angle is overall. For example, we have 10 pi divided by 4 equals 2 pi plus 2 pi divided by 4, which equals sine 2 pi divided by 4, which is 1. That is where that angle terminates and will always terminate. Right triangles actually have a lot to do with the same values as a unit circle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent is opposite over adjacent, cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, and cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Also, along with these, you can see that the identities are also used on right triangles. It is actually where they are mostly used overall, very rarely where you use them on a unit circle. Primus, this is the absolute stupidest thing I've ever done. Okay, let's just get the rest of this over with as soon as possible. Sine and cosine graphs are used to model the motion of repeating things and motions, such as the wheel rotating or tide of the ocean or my brain shattering. Sine graphs start at a midpoint on the graph and then rise/fall, while cosine starts at the peak or minimum of the graph. Since they repeat, they are classified in periods of repeating motions. For example, if it repeats every 2 units, it has a period of 2. Amplitude is used to measure the difference between the midline and the peaks, such as right here, where I wish I wasn't doing this right now. Don't show this to anyone, Starscream! Yes, boss. Good. Primus, I can't believe I'm still doing this stupid thing. Cosecant and secant graphs are directly related to sine and cosine graphs as they begin where those graphs peak overall, creating this very unusual graph. They're very niche, so they're not super common. Alright, human children, we're getting near the end finally, so let's get this over with. Inverse functions can be used to find the angle of a triangle or a unit, rather than finding their length. All of them feature a -1 exponent to signify that they are the opposite function from what they are usually intended to be. For example, cosine to the -1 of 1/2 is equal to 1.047 radians, while sine to the -1 to the power of 1/2 is equal to 0.5235 radians. So, finally, how do you measure an angle? We can actually use the inverse function to find an angle of an arc without a protractor. By typing in sine to the power -1 of 1/2, we can find the radian angle is 0.523. Cosine to the -1 of the square root of 3/2 is the exact same, meaning they are the same angle. I can't believe I actually agreed to that stupid bit. What was I thinking? Of course he was going to win. I hope no.
Oh, Megatron!
What? You know, I'm going to post this online. This is pathetic. Really? Teaching children over a stupid bet you made? God, how stupid are you? Starscream, I swear
Megatron,
I
no,
never...